And just like that, I am back. Welcome to tonight's podcast with your girl, Dina. Okay. Make sure that you drop down in the comments and tell me hello when you come in. Okay. Even if you watch the replay, drop it down there. Hello. I'm going to speak back to you. Okay. So, as you already know, we are still in the season of waiting. So, we are still talking about the waiting period. And we're still talking about friendships in the waiting period. And you might be like, why are we still, in the waiting period talking about friendships, whatever? Guess what? I was thinking the same thing because that's what I asked God. And apparently, there are some things that we are still learning and moving toward while in the waiting period of our purpose partner spouses that we need to kind of tidy up with our friendships, right? Good evening, Angela. Welcome to tonight's podcast. Hope you have invited a friend. And so tonight, as I was trying to do my homework real quick, I came up with vulnerability. Because friendships, you have to be vulnerable with your friends. When I say friends, I do hold that title very tight. Friends, right? And so as I was thinking about friendships today, and I'm like, why are we still talking about friendships, Lord? Like it started making me think about some of the friendships that I have, some things that has happened in past friendships, um, how much I've grown. Because in some of the situations, yeah, it could have got a bit ugly because I was the type that whatever I want to say, I was gonna say it, and it didn't matter how it came out. I know that sounds very terrible, but it is what it is, and that's how I was. And I ain't gonna say I'm ashamed of it because that just was a part of who I was at that time. But thankfully to God, I have grown and I have changed, and I look at things differently. And I guess I'm not sure why I'm still on friends in the waiting season, but I do know that it's very important because if you can't be friends and be vulnerable with your friends, how can you take that into a marriage? It's just like we saying going from single to married with no in between of preparation for your marriage. You go from being independent and doing everything on your own to hopefully submitting and becoming under somebody else and letting them lead. And that's a lot to navigate within that short period of time. So for whatever reason is, God still has me on friendships, and that's what I'm gonna talk about because apparently I'm learning something too, right? And so when I was thinking about it, it was talking about being vulnerable in friendships. I don't know, have you maybe y'all never had that problem where you was always vulnerable with your friends, but that was not so easy for me because I felt like I don't know why, but I always felt defensive. And I felt like I had to be very careful with a lot of my friends on how they handle me. Because all it takes is for one little thing to happen if they handle you the wrong way, that's forever sketched in your mind, right? And so I'm learning that even with friendships, because I've always been the type of person that I'm not gonna be mad at somebody because you mad at them. I'm gonna let everybody have their moment until you show me something different. It might have been bad on my part, but it's just how I felt about it. I'm not gonna take your word that you had a problem with somebody else. I'm just gonna go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt. However, I am learning now that yeah, that discernment, when the discernment kicks in about some people, yeah, you better go ahead and take heed to that and pray about that. Because sometimes you don't know why. Sometimes God reveals it to you later, or sometimes He give you a warning to kind of keep your eyes open. And so I'm learning that. And I always said before, I'm a dreamer. And when God shows me certain people in my dreams, and I'm trying to figure out why am I seeing them in my dreams, He didn't give me nothing. I just seen them. And then when they show up, you like, oh Lord, what is going on? Pay attention to that because God is trying to show us something, right? So, and that's what I got about that part. That was my No, that ain't my transparent moment right now. I ain't got y'all one yet for the day, okay? So it says, we're going to gently unfold the layers of what it means to create and experience a safe space for vulnerability in friendships, especially during our waiting period, right? It's not just about sharing your heart, it's knowing that your heart will be held with care. And like, what makes a friendship emotionally safe? There was a couple of things that came up. Like over time, trust over time. When you start building friendships with some people, then you building a trust up with them. So you can trust them to a certain extent as the time goes on. But as time goes, you get better with them, and you feel more vulnerable, and you may share some things, and they may share some things, and then you feel that you are in that place where, okay, I can kind of give them some, and they're gonna give me back some positive, and then they may share some stuff their own self. And I hate to hear a lot of women that say they don't have any female friends, they don't want any female friends. We all need friends. We all need somebody that we can call and talk to when times are hard, even when times are good. Just to share that joy with them, to share the sadness with them. You should be able to hear in your voice, what's going on. You ain't sounding too good. Well, I ain't heard from you in a couple of days. That's a friendship. And I feel like a lot of people these days don't take friendships into accountability. They just, it's no loyalty in friendships. It's just people just do what they want to say what they want. And that's not cool. And I guess it's the older we get, well, the older I get, because baby, 50 is coming real fast. The older you get, you start to look at things differently. And I guess that's just where a place that I'm in. And I'm starting to look at so many things differently. Um, I guess it's just a part of my growing season. Like, I'm not as I ain't gonna say I'm not as open, but I'm more aware and more discerning because I didn't have that before because I feel like there was just too much work to be trying to figure out people and see this, that, and the other. However, God will give it to you without you asking for it, right? So Angela says that I am on a journey to better myself. We all are, Angela. Well, we all should be. Let me say that. We all should be on a journey to better ourselves. And I guess even with us talking about friendships, I'm trying to be a better friend because we always can do better, right? And sometimes our other friends make it a little harder, but sometimes we gotta still do what we gotta do. And Angela says the friendship has to be 100 on both sides. Absolutely. There's no 50-50. There's no 70-30. There's none of that. It's 100 on both sides. And another thing that what makes friendships emotionally safe is non-judgmental listening. Like, you don't want to be talking to your friend and they feel like you feel like they judging you on everything that they say or everything that you say. Like, no, that's not what we're doing. I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you want to judge me. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna shut it down and we're gonna go on and we ain't gonna tell them nothing else. Because when I try to tell you something, open up, you judge me, and I just want you to listen. And that's another thing we have to learn when our friends are talking to us, the difference in they want you just to listen or if they're saying something that they need your opinion on, and always be prayerful in what you tell them, right? I know it's easy for us to say, well, girl, I want to do this, or girl, I would do this, well, you should do this. Be very prayerful, and especially to your friends that's in the waiting period. And I just can't stress that enough because I am that friend that's in the waiting period. And a lot of times emotions run high. We go through different things and we see things in a different kind of way than normal. So any little thing sometimes can make you feel some type of way. So just as Angela just said, I always try to uplift your friends and be that friend. That's all we got, right? Then it says give compassionate feedback, a safe place for your friends to offer truth with tenderness. Tenderness is not in what you say, is how you say it. That they challenge you when needed, but always with love and care. And now this is my transparent moment. I didn't have no filter. I didn't try to give no compassionate feedback with no truth and tenderness. I just put it on time and it was what it was. However, that is not of God. God said, with loving kindness will I draw thee. So now I practice my loving kindness, okay? So that's my transparent moment because I was thinking back to some things and some people made me feel some type of ways, and baby, I just let it rip. And one of the ladies, she told me one time, you think you can just say what you want to say? I say, I can. You better say what you want to say because I'm going to say what I want to say. I've been delivered, I must confess. However, I can look back at that now and say, oh, I could have handled that differently, but I didn't. But I've grown from that, and that's what I try to do now. So we're all still on a journey growing, right? Then it says, then I have vulnerability is worth it. It fosters empathy, deepens your trust, and creates a culture connection in our friendships, right? And be vulnerable so that we can have this safe space, that person to talk to. And so that when we create that atmosphere of vulnerability with our friends, it will make it so much easier to transition into that marriage and be able to have your spouse as that safe space that you can be vulnerable with them. And that will work so well in a marriage, I'm quite sure. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they always talk about how connection is great, conversation, communication, like all of that in a marriage. And so I'm giving you that because I'm giving it to myself as I am trying to make space and trying to create um the atmosphere and what I've prayed for. So that's all I got for you. I just had to come on here and give y'all that tonight because one of the other things that I am trying to do, I am trying to stay consistent. When God gives you an assignment, no matter what that assignment is, He wants us to be consistent. And so that's why I'm here tonight on the podcast, because I want to be consistent with you all. I want to continue to come on here to encourage you, to uplift you, to tell you to continue with me. Your due season is coming. The manifestation of what you have prayed and hoped for is coming. And I posted earlier about Christmas in July. I don't know what that is. I don't know what God is up to, but God is up to something. And I believe and I declare that before the end of this year, it's going to be mind blowing. And it's not going to be just one thing, it's going to be things after the other. It's going to be coming so fast right behind each other that you ain't going to be able to catch your breath. You know how I know? Because God gave it to me in a dream. And it's been getting confirmed all year long. So I just came out here to share that with you to encourage you and hope that you can encourage somebody else. That's all I got for you. And you have a wonderful evening. Drop down in the comments and let me know if this friendship series while in the waiting period is helping you. Is it giving you anything? Is it encouraging you? Because it is always my prayer to come on and to encourage, even if it's just one person. That is my goal. It's just consistency. And I had a friend stop by the other night, and she came by just to get something, some dip I made. She ended up staying in my house for 3 hours. And from that 3 hours, we talked about so much stuff. And when she got ready to leave, she told me thank you because she's like, you always encourage me. I love talking to you. And that's just the type of person that I have been lately on this journey. I want to be that encourager. I want to help push you into purpose. So that's all I got. That's all I'm trying to do. So, like the Bible, like David said, sometimes you got to encourage yourself. So, continue to wait well, continue to prepare, continue to speak over the manifestation that you want to see coming, okay? Because y'all know what? It's closer than you think. So until next time, you take that and digest it, and I will see y'all when I see y'all on our next go round, okay?